Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show, and I'm Ian. And if you couldn't tell by the sound of the music, it's our part two, or my part two, of my Elden Ring journey. Joining me on the couch tonight is Justin. Justin, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. How you doing yourself?
I'm all right. It was kind of a weird day, and I don't know. Talk video games.
Yeah. So, how's your quest so far?
How's my quest? I mean,
Elden Ring?
Actually, I got on right after work, and I beat one of the Erd Tree avatars, one of the minor tree, just to like jump on for a moment. I needed like some souls or some runes to level up, and so I just ran over to the one I hadn't beaten yet, killed him, and then leveled up again, just in a moment. And then I was like, well, I'll contact you and see if you're ready to record. And then I've just been waiting for you because a little bit of recording difficulties tonight, but I think we got it. I think we figured out a workaround. So
I hope so.
But I wanted to ask you a bunch of questions.
Sure.
Because I know you're a big Souls guy. But what is your overall take of this game so far?
So far, my history with the Soulsborne games is I've been playing since Dark Souls 1 on PC, and I just remember like hearing people talk about Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and there's had like this weird kind of zeitgeist and this whole discussion about this weird obtuse, but people who got into it got really into it. So I picked it up on sale and I started playing, and I wasn't really sure like how to kind of decipher what I was playing. I didn't understand what the big deal was at first, but I don't know when it was, but somehow like it just clicked and it made sense to me. Yeah, it's a difficult game that you kind of really have to kind of plan your attack and constantly be on your toes. And went through Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, went through Sekiro. I never got a chance to do Bloodborne because I was never on PC, and I've never done Demon Souls.
Have you done
But
any
so
of the
far,
Have you done any of the like the other games that are like Souls-like games, like from other like FromSoft-like games, like Surge or Neo or any of those games?
I did try the first Neo for a little bit, but for some reason, like it's kind of like Coke and Pepsi, or like when you kind of compare them, like there's a certain flavor you're looking for, and it's sort of there, but there's something off. Like to me, like Neo had a weird. It has a floatiness to it, or like it doesn't have like the same heft and impact that the FromSoft games have. And I've known people like talk about. I believe there was that more Viking-looking one that was a while back. I'm the names on tip of my tongue. I
Something
can't
of the
recall.
Fallen or something.
Yes, that's the one. And I've heard it's like it kind of does the same, but it doesn't have.
Those are the guys that did the Surge 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. And I've heard good things about the Surge games. So I think like maybe the Fallen one was basically their first attempt, but then it's so weird like how a short period of time like the Soulsborne series has become like so influential in game design to like a certain sect of like third-person action games.
Right.
But so far, like Elden Ring is basically like everything I was hoping for and then some. Like when they first did their announcement and saying they're doing a collaboration with George R.R. Martin, I wasn't really sure how to really take that, I guess. And I guess like in hindsight, as you play the game, you kind of wonder like how much of impact does he really have on the overall game to begin
Right,
with?
like he came up with some names and maybe a couple story ideas, but like the story is so kind of like okay, sure. What is
Yeah, and honestly, like
two
I'm
finger maid?
just
I don't know
waiting-
what these finger maidens are. I don't know what is going
Yeah.
on.
There's all the fingers. I'm maidenless at first, but then I guess I find a maiden after getting got a couple times and
But
hanging out
old
by a
maidens,
bonfire.
right?
Yeah. And then you always have like these weird side quests that you kind of stumble into. And even though I've played these games like for so long, there are times where the quests, you kind of just stumble along through it. Like there's people who are able to pay attention to the story way better than I can. Because ultimately I'm just like, I guess I got to go kill some shit and get the
Right.
Elden Ring. That's what everybody's saying. I'm tarnished instead of like hollowed or ashened or whatever like it is that this like whatever this flavor of Dark Souls
Right.
is.
Well, I had a question about your kind of prior history with the genre leading into Elden Ring before Elden Ring dropped. What was kind of your favorite of the Souls games you'd play? Which one was kind of your favorite at that point?
From what I've heard, and I think it's true, is your first Souls game is usually your favorite. And so for me, the first Dark Souls is still my favorite. I know Dark Souls 2 has some defenders, but it is usually widely considered the worst.
Yeah.
But they tried some things like some weapon art stuff that came back in this most latest game, and I haven't gotten to the point where I have two of the same weapon, or I haven't tried yet. But there was a concept called power stancing that was introduced in the second one that was only in the second game, where if you were leveled in a certain way and you held two of the same type of weapon, you could introduce a whole new set of very powerful attacks. From my understanding, that is back in Elden Ring. And then the third one kind of was like more of an expansive, like I guess the first one, they really kind of took a lot of the nostalgia of like, hey, remember this person and remember these elements from the first game. We're reintroducing it because it's basically a way of wrapping up the story.
Right.
But I really liked, there's an aspect of the first one I really liked because I always play as a fast dex like a dex build character, and I got really good at the timing to do parrying.
Well, that leads me to another question. Like, is that something you learned right off the bat in the first game, or is that something you learned as you started to play the other games?
The timing is different in each game.
No, but your build choice.
Oh, the build choice? I think what it was is I started off as strangely enough, I've never really rocked with magic at all in these games. And I know that's a huge component, but I started off as like a heavy, just strength wielding character because it's just like just swing a big hammer and shit happens. But as the games have gone on, like your swings are slow, and even like throwing daggers at certain bosses and characters, they fuckers just jump out of the way.
Right.
So you need to be like maneuverable, and like you could be tanky, but these guys hit hard, and I need to be able to like roll my ass out of the way.
Right. So, oh man, moving into like with Elden Ring, was there any concerns on your part, having played most, the main like the PC games, basically, moving them into an open world? Was there any concern there, or did you feel like? Because I don't have a big background with those games. I kind of played some Bloodborne. I played a little bit of Demon Souls, but I never got into it. So I don't have any idea what Dark Souls is like or Sekiro. So like, was there any concern moving into this like open world gameplay that concerned you?
Not really, but to be totally honest, I didn't really think about it that much. I was just really interested, like especially after the departure of Sekiro, where it still had that brutal difficulty, but they added this whole another element of mobility and using the grappling hook and the instances of like breaking posture. So if you break down the defense, you could break down the defense of your enemy to open them up to like a critical attack. But the concept of the open world, like I wasn't actually fully understanding the scope of what they were looking for. I was just kind of thinking it might be kind of more of the same, which, I mean, if you like chocolate ice cream and they make a really good chocolate ice cream, I'm pretty sure this next chocolate ice cream is going to kick ass.
Well, what do you think of it, though? I mean, you've played a lot of open world games. What do you think of this game as an open world game?
I think they're doing a really good job. Like they've done a fantastic job, because I don't really play as many open world third person games these days. And the reason why is I feel that the Dark Souls formula has kind of ruined me on a lot of that style of game. So games such as Assassin's Creed and stuff, where a lot of times maybe you can just mash a button and get out of a situation where you get mobbed, like that's not possible in these games. And so I almost feel like the Dark Souls series, or this kind of formula, is kind of akin to getting into fighting games. So if you start playing online and you have people who adapt and have certain strategies, some of them are brain dead. They'll just be spamming dragon punches. But you end up having a strategy how to counter that. But then you come across other ones that are kind of trying to bait you into doing something so they can answer that. I feel like that almost philosophy is in those games. Now add that into an open world. You always had options with Dark Souls games that, for example, in the first Dark Souls game, your main hub area where you first land into the main world, you have, I would say, like three directions you could go right off the bat. One is the easy route, one is the medium route, and one is certain death unless you know what you're doing. Now, what they did is they gave an option, like almost like more onboarding, where you're like, there are plenty of areas that will fuck you up immediately. And when you come across those areas, you're like, you know what? I'm going to come back and I'm going to try some of these other little minor dungeons first that are like a lot easier. And it's weird because they do not tell you what areas are easy and what areas are hard.
Right.
And you think you're Billy Badass just rolling through and steamrolling people. And for some reason you take a wrong turn and you're getting fucked up immediately. So like, for example, like where was it? Limegrave? Limgrave? How do you pronounce Limgrave?
The starting area.
Is what it is? Yeah. So when you're first off there, like you're like, okay, you're starting to get your bearings. These kind of roaming, like zombie-looking dudes are pretty easy to take out. Occasionally, you come across like those more barbarian-looking dudes on the horseback. You're like, okay, these guys are tough, so you got to like kind of keep your wits about you. And then you are just rolling around and you open some random chest and it sends your ass to some weird mine where you're backstabbing people and it's not doing any damage at all.
See, I only got teleported once so far in the whole game.
You've only teleported once so far?
And okay. I got teleported to the fucking elevator in the palace with the big fucking...
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's the first place. That's the only time I've been teleported, and I went all the way the fuck there. It's just like, and I'm like a level, like maybe 10 wretch at this point, and I'm just getting with a club, maybe a sword at that point. And I'm just getting owned by this. There's just like nothing I can do. It's like there's no way I can fight it. Why did I get teleported here?
Exactly. So no, the first trap chest that teleported me to a mine
Okay.
in Khalid.
Okay.
And so after I just sprint my way out of this, I look like I'm on fucking Mars. And that's the first time I've ever seen that area before. And it's the middle of like the poison swamps. So another aspect of these games I love is, yes, it is the most dour and depressing atmosphere possible. But there is such a trolly fuckery of the community that's involved in these games with the messages. Like, whether they're giving you helpful messages, like, beware of left. Like, how many times those little, like,
Or if
rat
they put a fucking message right by a fucking ladder. Like, fuck those
oh,
guys.
that shit. Or try finger butt hole, or Fort Common Night, or shit like that. Or try jumping and it's like pointing down off a cliff. You just see a bunch of little blood stains around it. So like, it's the open aspect, like, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I've been incredibly impressed. Were like the idea that how many times you've been surprised by just some wandering boss.
Oh, 100%.
Like your
Well, just the exploration of the game in general, I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing that's so weird about open world games right now is like like real mainstream ones is like, oh, go ahead, explore, but then they hold your hand around every corner and everything.
Yeah.
Like this game gives you a true sense of exploration, and it's just it's so refreshing, extremely refreshing.
And also you have this aspect that's so easy to maybe miss something super crucial. Like, for example, like how you can see how easy it would be to miss the witch that gives you the ability to summon spirits real easily. And I probably would have missed it if I didn't read about it. And
you know what? The only reason I didn't miss her is like I kept dying and kept coming here, and then finally noticed that she was just sitting.
Yeah. And I also appreciate how, like, I was surprised. I'm kind of surprised how diverse the different binomes are in the games. Like, so as of late, I know, like, in the game, you can beat 2 of the, was it great rune holders, and you can progress.
Shard bearers.
Yes, exactly. And you can actually progress further to closer to the end game, I guess, or like the second half, or I don't know. This game keeps getting bigger and bigger the more I
It's huge,
play it.
man. It's so fucking. How many hours are you in so far? You think?
Let me check Steam, but I believe I am close to 40. And where are you at right now?
I'm at 60 hours, and
Yeah.
I think I've unlocked all the areas except the snowy area.
Yeah, I just heard about that there was a snowy area today. Have you done the lift yet?
The lift.
So there is this lift that goes up. So there is the lake area that's really large up top.
Right.
And then there's spoilers to anybody. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're
Oh,
gonna get
I
spoiled,
told
but-
them in the first episode that this was going to be a very spoiler heavy series.
Okay, cool. So in the northern part of that area, you have like this weird mansion that's full of like severed hands. That
Oh,
attacks
the
you.
hand spiders, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of hand stuff goes on in that place. And then there is the lift area, which I was kind of like going. The last couple of days, I've just basically been trying to acquire those sombering stones that you can make your weapons better. I have a
right,
I
better
guess,
than
unique
smithing
weapon.
stones, the white ones.
Exactly. So in my journey across the globe, I did come across the 2 halves of this medallion that I used to unlock the lift.
Okay.
But I haven't used it yet because I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure to try to like
Where
complete
was
all the
I
quests.
feel like I've missed. I've been all over that area, but I think I missed the sec. I have the first half of the medallion.
Yeah.
Where was the second half? I don't even.
So I believe the second half I'm trying to remember the first one because I know the first one you get early. There's the second one. Have you killed the big slumbering dragon in Khalid yet?
Yeah.
That second half is in that fort.
Oh,
where
in
that
I didn't go
bonfire
in the
is.
fort. Okay.
And that fort's fucked up, so be ready. So yeah, they have what's called corpse runs, and it's pretty much known in Dark Souls terminology. What a corpse run is basically, I'm just gonna haul ass and just get the pickup, and I know I'm gonna die. So just try to utilize all your souls or runes or whatever your currency is, and just haul ass, and hopefully you make it.
So let's go back to the beginning a little bit. So like you were talking about Dext and what? So is that what the build you did for Elden Ring? Your dexterity?
Yeah, I started off with the warrior build. It's always weird because you almost become paralyzed by indecision of what direction you want to go in.
That's why I just went. Well, that's why the guy on the video said, if you want to experience the game fully, choose Wretch. Yeah. But it'll make it more difficult for you. And it's like, I hate these games. Why choose the more difficult path? But I thought, fuck it. So I picked it, and so I picked Wretch. But and I've had a good time so far, so I don't know. But you went with.
So as of right now, like how have you been speccing your character?
Specking my character, I'm unsure what specking. I guess I'm probably doing it. I was doing kind of a dexterity, like quick and like and strength.
Yeah.
But lately I've been really ramping up my faith and intelligence to use some of the other kind of more interesting like spells and weapons. So I'm not like a lot of people tell you to just like put a lot into vigor. I have not put a lot into health.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I want to be able to like kill things. I don't want to die. I don't care if I die.
I know there's a huge trade-off. It's like, do you want to do damage?
Yeah.
Or do you want to take damage?
I don't want to take damage.
It seems like, well, I want to take damage, but I want to do damage. So, but no, I basically been kind of speccing my character so far around the weapon that Bloodhound Knight dropped, and I've been able to get it to +9, and it scales with both strength and dexterity, but it scales more with dexterity. And then I did want to have some of the dragon powers, so like doing like the rotten breath attack?
The rot.
Yeah, required some faith that I did not have, and so did have to do a little bit of rune farming, I guess what you call it, outside of like the beast that there is in North Khalid that place where that beast guy hangs out, where you give him like dead roots or something like that, and there's the gargoyle that hangs out front that will aggro if you touch him.
Dude, hey, you know how you were talking on Discord about trying to get him to fall off?
Yeah.
I died, but got him to fall off.
Nice. Did he die though?
I don't know. He dropped down. I'm pretty sure there wasn't. So it's hard to tell. I'm pretty sure he wasn't by the secondary cliff, but he does fall. I can get him to fall off it. Yeah.
Because he does this thing where, like, if you get up in his face, he'll do a big jump back.
Oh, yeah.
And so you just try to aim him so he jumps his ass off the cliff.
But if you got to really be on him because he won't stay with you.
No.
He'll because on the left side, let's see, what is it? So if you're facing the castle, he'll never he hates going to the right side, but he'll go to the left side because I think there's that ledge down below there. But if you can get him up on the step, he will go fly over the edge there. So it's like, I think it's possible, but I don't know.
But no, I've like, as of today, so I've had today and yesterday off, and I was doing a lot more exploring of the Eternal City. I was trying to follow I think I'm going to always butcher the pronunciations of all these names, but I think her name's Rami, the witch that gives you the summon. You find her again, and she does have a quest line, right? And it involves this one dude that has a wolf's head that you will see in the Mistwood areas. He's involved, and you've you saw him because he helped you out during
The Radon
that
fight.
fight. Yeah, exactly.
And then he's down in
So-
Necron. Or
Yes.
Norcon or whatever.
Yeah. And then you go down there again, and then there's another Eternal City down there as well. There's a second part. So I got to the second part, and you come across, and that's weird because like those spectral dudes with the horns that can snipe you from like half a map
sick.
away.
So and they're heat-seeking fucking
Yes,
arrows. Fuck those guys.
They fucking suck. And they're a bunch of bastards. And then
I feel like you and I are equal. I'm just taking longer. Like I've started playing earlier. I'm just a lot slower player because I'm not as good. But I feel like you are pretty much where I'm at.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I came across what's referred to as a hidden boss today. There's an area called the Lake of Rot that's further down. You end up fighting a invader. They call it like I think it's like you fight the wolf head dude, but it's like an invader style one. So I don't know if it was actually the real one. Yeah. And then behind him, you go further into like this place called the Lake of Rot. So of course, you have to run through it, and instead of poisoning you, it gives you the Scarlet Rot. So you have to basically be like chugging your Estus flask and then trying to have some of this one power up that basically negates that thing. So you're just burning through all your supplies pretty quickly. And you take a left turn instead of a right, and you have an option to rest in a coffin, and you wake up in this whole different area, and you fight this boss that's basically like a large like skeleton scorpion thing. And I'm sure this has happened to you numerous times where you are fighting and you're doing really well.
Oh, right.
You're doing so well where you don't even see any health left on that boss. And you're like, one more hit and this fucker's dead. And you just get shot and you get got. And that happened to me 3 times in a row on this fucker. So I got a question for you also. Because I know they came up with the patches, the patch notes today with the latest patch. And
last night when I was fighting Radon is when the patch dropped and it kicked me out of the game.
Oh, really? Lame. Have you acquired the mimic summons yet?
No, because isn't that in I haven't fought that boss yet. Isn't that in the down below in the city after the comment?
Yes.
That boss.
So
I'm
you
about to fight
him.
that boss, but it's like, well, that mimic has been nerfed heavily, so it's like I'm gonna get it, but it's gonna be useless, kind of.
Yeah, he's not as good as he used to be. So, you fight the mimic tier,
right?
And then
which is basically you.
Yeah, basically you. It's Dark Link basically, and you go through, and it's behind one of those fog doorways that you have to use a little key with the gremlins and shit. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, they nerfed a bunch of stuff. They nerfed like that shield that would do the one shots. You would get this shield and then you could pair it with something and it would shoot like this electric bolt and kill people in one shot. So that got nerfed. So you can't do that. And then the bloody slash got nerfed. But then they buffed a lot of the magic. I feel like they really want you to play with magic in this game.
And I've been like, I appreciate just the variety of options you have to play this game. I've been seeing like some video of these people like doing this one power up that doesn't cause them like for like 5 seconds they don't lose any of their magic power, and then they just shoot like this just large ass beam out of the staff and just melts bosses. I know that's eventually going to probably be nerfed as well, but it's cool that they have like you have the creativity to like really kind of fuck around with stuff, especially with the Ashes of War. I'm kind of scared to use it because I don't want to fuck something up.
Well, you can move them around. They don't stay. It doesn't cost you to move. Yeah, you can. So if you put one to a weapon, you can use it, and then if you want to switch it to another weapon, that's why you can do it. Any sites of grace doesn't cost you money to switch them out. Okay. You can get some kind of currency to make duplicates of it if you want to put it on multiple weapons instead of having to switch it constantly. But they don't. You can remove it, put it back on.
Okay.
It's not something that you have to worry about fucking your build up with.
Interesting.
The other
So I know like you play a lot of. I know you play a lot of.
Go ahead.
Open world games. Like how is this compared? Because I know you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. How is this compared to like those open worlds and like the Ubisofts and like all that stuff?
That's what I'm that's what kind of the thing I'm talking about. Like there was a joke, I think I posted it on the Discord, but like someone had put the HUD of an Assassin's Creed game over Elden Ring, and it's just the amount of information that gives you versus this game doesn't give you anything really. It's like just it's so refreshing to not have to follow quest markers or have constant dialogue on the thing or be reminded of what the quest is. It's like it's kind of more fun to like happen across the quest and be like, oh, I actually experienced something. I know everyone's experienced this. I mean, this game is doing incredibly well. It sold like 12 million copies, and it's like what, a week or so now? I don't know, but it's sold a shit ton.
It's crazy. And like I saw the numbers, only 1 million of them were in Japan. And this is a Japanese developer.
But it's just as far as an open world game, it's really refreshing. I guess I just was getting really tired of just like you hit the quest marker and then it shows a little like invisible line how to get to somewhere, and it's like this game doesn't do that. And the cool thing about this game and its design, which we haven't really talked about, is just how the world, you see the kind of like how Skyrim, like Todd Howard said when like Skyrim was released, like if you can see it, you can go to it. But the cool thing about this game is like, when you see it, it's so impressive in the background, and it's like I've fucking been there. But in the back, it's just so impressive, like the way the verticality of the game and how it works, and it's just really cool design, and it's like it's super impressive in that regard, I think.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we all have our moment of like testing the limits of how far we can jump off a cliff with our horse and we all try to do the double jump right before we hit the ground, and that shit doesn't fly.
I feel like sometimes it's like, no, even if you couldn't do that. It's like it's already decided that this is not an area you could do that on.
Exactly. And it was like just the weird shit, like the goats that will roll down the hill for reasons.
I like how there's female goats, and then when the male one rams are around, they'll attack you.
Yes. Like you're trying to sneak up on somebody, all of a sudden some goat is fucking ramming you from behind.
It's like, what the fuck? Are there things about the game that bug you? Because there are for me. Like the camera can be incredibly annoying.
I think there's the things that are kind of bugging me, like I've been using an Xbox Series X controller on my PC, and I'm actually thinking about maybe switching over back to my Steam controller.
Oh my God, are you talking about the fucking dismount when you hit the fucking left stick?
So what I've been talking about is, so you have like your item list that you can like scroll through when you're pressing down on the D-pad.
Oh, right.
But there's also like if you press and hold Y, you have that extra little pouch of items you can select.
Right.
I don't know if I'm using it correctly or optimally, but I was like, I want to have on that one, when you press and hold Y, the ones I always want to get to is like calling my horse up, and then left and right are my two summons that I use the most. So right now it's the Mimic and Wolves. And then bottom is the lantern that you can connect to your belt. And so, but if you're in the middle of battle, like especially like a dragon fight, and you get knocked off your horse, I have to do some weird claw action with my hand to keep running, and then pressing and hold Y, and then also press up on the D-pad at the same time. It's like a weird funky motion, and I know there has to be a better way for me to do this. So like weird shit like that. Going to the map by pressing back button or whatever button you're using, and
for
then
me it's the touchpad, so it's pretty easy.
Press that button again, you exit out of it. But no, not in this game. This one will be like, oh, this is instructions.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just weird shit like that.
Well, what I'm talking about is like when you're mounted on your horse and you're attacking a boss on the PlayStation 5. When you press, because L3 and R3 are the stick buttons.
Yeah.
Well, L3 is dismount too. So like you get in a
weird.
battle and you're getting hot and heavy, and then you go into a swing, and then all of a sudden you press too hard down on the stick, and it dismounts you, and it's like you just instantly lose all your speed and you're fucked. And I'm just like, and there's no way to remap that. I'm going to there's like very limited remapping things for the PlayStation 5. I don't know, PC probably has a lot more options, but for me, I'm just like stuck with this awful dismount choice, and it just fucking drives me mad.
Oh, that would be bad. Yeah, there is interesting, like then there's other weird shit, like if you've been playing Dark Souls for a while, like you get used to it, like so like if you're trying to do like platforming, which that is not the best game for platforming, but they know it's fucked up and they're like, you're gonna deal with it anyway. And if you tap the button, you'll jump backwards as a dodge.
Right.
And you just jump your ass off. Like if you're trying to jump between if you're trying to work your way down a cliff off of like the headstones that are hanging out. Yeah, I've jumped backwards off that shit before. Because you want to get a running start. And so you want to make sure like, okay, I need to make sure I just press this just right so I don't run off the front, but I also don't jump backwards off the back of this. So that's weird. I also kind of forget that I have a jump button available to me because that wasn't in Dark Souls. Like you had a jump button, but it's not utilized how it is now.
Oh yeah, because like jump attacks are crazy powerful in this game. I mean, it's just this new
I forget
thing
about them. So especially when you're going against like those hardened enemies, like usually in the mines, like those are really powerful attacks for sure. But yeah, but then of course like I feel like they've done a better job of having more bonfires. The little statues that you have an option to respawn at are fantastic. And a lot of times you don't even realize that you hit one until like you die and you're like, oh, I guess there was one there this whole time. Every time you do like one of those tree avatar fights, like I did one of those yesterday as well, like fighting the one that was in Khalid that does like
the rot,
scarlet rot damage. So
how'd you beat that one?
I think I was on a good roll. I stayed on the horse. I used Mimic, and I also used Fire on my sword, and that does a lot of damage. I went on a tear the other day. I was
because those other two are really easy.
Games, like,
the other two, those tree avatars are really easy, but that one was like way more different.
That one in Khalid's gnarly. Yeah, that guy's fucked. Same thing with like some dragon fights. Like some dragon fights are easy now. Like you get to the point where like you're getting your ass kicked by everything, but then you start getting strong. You start understanding the mechanics, and you feel like the wind starts blowing on your back, and then you're actually starting to kick ass.
For sure.
But occasionally you cross somebody who's like, well, don't get too cocky because like this is going to be challenging all the way through.
Well, that was kind of the reason I started this series, because as like, I wasn't ever a big Souls fan. I wasn't really into those games. And then this one came out and there's so much hype. And I said, fuck it. I should play it. I'm going to play it. And then I just really got into it. But I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to progress enough to beat it. And so I thought, and then I got to a certain point where I started beating a few bosses. And I thought, well, maybe I can do this. But I'm not going to beat this quickly. I'm not going to be able to beat this like you'll probably beat it in like the next couple weeks or something, you know? Like probably going to take me a little longer, you know? But I figured, well, I'll do instead of just doing a review of because I haven't beat it yet, I'll just do like a continuing saga of my journey through this game in the hopes that I beat it before the year ends, you know? So, but it's been really impressive. I understand the loop now of like getting better and like, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me.
I also feel too, like just doing a straight review, you're missing, like you do the game almost a disservice because part of the game is just the discussion around it. Mm-hmm. Like not only like how me and you were talking and like talking with Jared on the Discord channel and Tony, but also like if you like start any like podcast or any like video game media, they're constantly coming out with articles and discussions, and everybody's experiencing this game in a kind of different way, which is really nice. So, I mean, you hear the comparisons to like Breath of the Wild. I had never played Breath of the Wild, but a lot of times you have the sword, you have the shield, and you're doing like the puzzles and stuff like that. And yes, maybe the exploration aspect's the same, but your approach to the combat is going to be so much different in the Elden Ring, depending on how you want to build your character.
Well, just to stop you there for a moment. The funny thing about Breath of the Wild that they in those reviews they never really talk about. Sure, this game is an open world game and the exploration is like Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild took that combat that comes from Souls games. You know, it doesn't come from Breath of the Wild. I mean, Breath of the Wild is this overrated open world game that's borrowing heavily from other games. You climb towers to unlock areas like Assassin's Creed. You have combat like Demon Souls or whatever, or Dark Souls. So like then Elden Ring is just like Breath of the Wild is such a disservice because, well, Breath of the Wild took so much from from software already. So anyway, go ahead. I've heard you're not the only. I mean, there's been a few reviewers that have said that, and it's just like, come on, guys, come on. I mean, when?
Yeah, I feel like the only comparison I can really make with that, because like I said, I never played it, but it seems like just the idea of like, okay, you're in this world, go do things,
right?
Instead of we're going to hold your hand, and I guess that's where the comparison will stop. Let's just say, but no, like. I am already planning on trying to defeat every boss in this game.
Right.
If I might be locked out, like, cause I know like some quest lines, I'll probably end up missing the first time around. And that's the same thing with like the Dark Souls series. Like they're obtuse. There might be a character you come across a couple times, and so for example, in the first Dark Souls games, there is a character named Solaire. That's where the term "praise the sun" comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Is this one dude in his quest line? And towards the end part of the game, there is a hallway where they have like these little like kind of creatures that are like little bugs that will jump on your head and kind of almost do like a sort of like instant kill, if I recall correctly. They basically are like little parasites that take over your brain. If you do not find If you do not find this hallway and clear them out, Solaire will get infected, and next time he sees you, will attack you, and you have to kill him. So, and it's like one of those ones where like it is not on the main path in those areas. You have to have like done some extra criteria to do this special hallway to get to this area, so you can save this one character that's been helping you the whole game. I feel like FromSoft loves that shit and does it all the time, which is cool. I mean, it just means like you get to play the game again. And yeah, this game is huge. So it's like, and it like already thinking about it for how much I've already put into it to play it again is daunting, but at least you have the skill set that you've acquired by playing it the first time. But then this time I get to try something new. So maybe this time I'll play as a spellcaster. Or
how many times did you like run through Dark Souls 1?
Shit. You know, like, I will look at, let me bring up my Steam page, because I believe I ended up putting like about 130 hours into Dark Souls, then probably close to the same amount to the remaster. I usually end up doing like around 130 hours on each Dark Souls game.
Right.
Because this is one of those ones where like, I don't really play games numerous times, but for some reason, like I will bring that one up. I'll keep playing those. I don't know why.
Well, I get like serious Skyrim vibes off of the exploration of this game for some reason, or just running through areas. I could see myself, even if I do beat this, I could see myself playing this again, just because I really enjoy the world. I enjoy being in it, even though it can be kind of oppressive and weird and creepy. I do enjoy my character just destroying these enemies. I find that very rewarding. So.
For sure. And like, I'm not going to lie, like there have been times where if you're getting your ass crushed by a boss the 5th or 6th time and you're like, I've heard this music numerous times. I've done the whole, like I've turned off the music in the game and just put on Spotify.
See, I don't do that.
And just be like, yeah, I know I'm the worst.
Well, I'm curious. Another thing I'm curious about, how much have you just like no spoilers, or how much do you like do like you Google or check out YouTube videos or read about stuff on like wiki, do you do much research, or do you try like I'm not against looking shit up. Like I feel like I
Mhm.
need to know what this is cuz I don't want to miss this.
Yeah. No, I look up stuff quite often. I looked up it's interesting you find out like how there's certain bosses are weak to certain things. That helps out a ton. Like that, how do you say his name again? The one on the dunes? Um, was it the guy you just beat?
Oh,
That
Radon.
I just beat? Yes,
General
him.
Radon, yeah.
Yes. On that weird little horse that he's on.
Yeah, right.
God.
It's like this badass
Uh,
boss, and then it's all of a sudden comical because he's on this little tiny fucking pony horse.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where like I also look it up too because I want to learn more about the lore. There is this one guy on YouTube. He has a very pleasant British voice, and he breaks down all the lore of all the Souls games in a nice, really soothing British accent. Um, I'll put a link to it on the Discord channel.
Okay.
But like I'm looking forward to like when he starts breaking down the lore to this game because there's like the aspects of like okay like you're chosen that you come back to life. I just always want to hear why like how what is the MacGuffin that's causing you to like they address that you die and you're coming back. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
And like with the Dark Souls games, they were talking about like some weird undead curse and people have been coming back to life numerous times and they start losing their mind, they lose their humanity. That's why people have gone crazy. And it's basically all careening towards the end of the world. But then you have like the aspects of like the Witch Raimi quest where she's talking about like something about wanting to like control death or something. And, they talk to you and they talk to you in ways where you're like, I'm sort of understanding what's going on, but I don't really get it.
I wonder if it's like George R. Martin gave them, here's a kind of a plot thread, but then you guys kind of figure it out from there, and they're like, what do we do with this?
Yeah, I know. Because I know from my understandings, like the original Dark Souls games, the director was basically looking at old, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons and old Western fantasy novels, but he didn't know how to read English. So he just saw the imagery and he just basically kind of filled in the blanks. And that's where like Demon Souls and the Dark Souls series came from. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think I don't know. Like I said before, I don't know how much George R. Martin's really contributing.
Yeah, right. It's like it's like yeah, yeah. I don't know. I almost feel like he would be, because of the lack of plot to a certain degree. He'd be like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
I had pages for this. I don't know.
Where is the incest and where's the rape? Yeah.
Let's not go there. How is it running on your I'm playing on PS5. It's not. It never really is a constant 60. It's like a 58, 59. In fact, Digital Foundry said if you're playing on PS5, if you want constant 60, play the PS4 version on the PS5, and you'll have constant 60.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I was just curious. I know the PC had some really bad stuttering issues at launch. I don't know how your machine's been handling.
I feel like there's still some stuttering issues as well. Like it doesn't hitch that bad, but occasionally it's just a little jarring. But I do know that the PC crowd can be extra neurotic. I mean, I get it. We've all spent like $3,000 on our PCs and stuff
Right.
like that. We want to make sure everything's 4K at 120 frames per second with all the bells and whistles with ray tracing, and everything needs to run flawlessly. That unfortunately is not the case. A lot of times it seems like, especially when it comes from Japanese developers, the quality of the ports sometimes lacks. Dark Souls 2, I couldn't play it for the first, I think, 2 or 3 weeks it came out because there was a weird graphical bug that caused the game to crash immediately. So, I mean, it could be worse for sure. And there's also like weird.
Are you pretty forgiving though, generally, or?
I guess so. Like, I feel like I am. And there's always coming out with new patches. And if they don't come out with a new patch, then there was the whole, especially when it comes to the first Dark Souls, there was a whole DS fix patch that this one guy came out with, which basically allowed you to do high resolution. Like you could basically brute force high resolution and uncapped frame rates, which they encouraged to cap at 60 because you would actually break the game, because they set parrying and attacks to the frame rate. So like, yeah, there's some issues, but it's a good looking game and it runs pretty good. And like I have it on SSD, and I feel like when I die and respawn, it's basically about like maybe 6 seconds or so before I'm back in.
Oh yeah, it's super quick. On PS5, it's like crazy quick, dude.
Which is good because you die a lot, and that would be a bummer.
Indeed. Indeed. I mean, that's the joke, right? And like I knew going in that was the joke, but like it's true, man. Especially when I was level nothing wretch with a club.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a long time to kind of.
So do you find yourself kind of like understanding the love of that? At least, like, I'm not saying like you're going to go back and play Dark Souls and stuff, but now you're playing this and like it's obviously got the hooks in you now. Like, it's fucked up. There's games out that are coming out right now that I did want to play. Like, Tunic finally came out. I have Game Pass, and they put the Guardians of the Galaxy game on there, which I've been hearing really good things about.
Oh, yeah.
Before Elden Ring came out, I was playing through Horizon Zero Dawn, the PC port, as well as finally playing Red Dead Redemption 2, because I did a graphic card update, and it's a really pretty looking game.
Right.
And then when Elden Ring came out, I just basically uninstalled those. And while I do want to play Tunic, I just want to spend all my time in Elden Ring.
Oh, 100%. It's funny you mentioned Horizon because, like, obviously I loved the first Horizon. I really enjoyed that game. But as we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier, I've gotten so just tired of those really hand-holdy open world games with marker and I was just not looking forward to I mean, I kind of want to play the sequel, but I just wasn't going to buy it at launch. I was like, I'll wait for it to like be $20 or something way down the line. And so and I didn't know what to play. I was going to play
really handholdy this time.
What?
I heard that it's supposed to be really handholdy.
Oh yeah, and then
this time.
Gran Turismo 7 was going to came out, and I was going to play that instead, and then I just made the audible to get Elden Ring, and then I just got fucking sucked in. It's like, yes, I was scared, but started enjoying it, and then part of me is just like, yes, this is the game I want to be playing right now. I really enjoy. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed it, and so it just kind of flipped the whole the script, But I am playing 2 games right now. I'm playing Gran Turismo 7, and I'm playing Elden Ring, and
nice.
That's just I'm playing these 2 kind of difficult-ish games, I guess.
And it's nice because they're vastly different.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've been wanting to get back into playing Guilty Gear, but Elden Ring, more Elden Ring. So I know you've been you might have mentioned this in your last talk, but when did it click? When did it make sense? When are you like, okay, this game, I get this game now. I understand why people are talking about this. Like, when did it really start? You started getting into the minutia of Elden Ring.
Let's see. The first night I got it and downloaded it, I had it preloaded, and the first night I played it, I was pretty drunk, and so the whole opening part, I just kind of like created my character and like kind of fumbled through that first like boss you're not supposed to be able to beat, but I guess you can beat if you're super good. But I just die, and then it dumps me out into the world, and it's like, oh, this world's cool, and then you just get destroyed by this guy on a horse really quick, and it's just like, it's kind of funny, and I'm just like drunk and having a good time. I'm just kind of like, it's just kind of like, so I played it for like 4 hours or something, and just I was like, oh, it is tough. It is a tough game. It's like, and in my head, I'm like, so like, I'll say like Returnal, which is this kind of game that's really tough, and I played for like 12 hours, but I could only beat the first boss, and I never moved on, and it just never really grabbed me, but I really like it, enjoyed it, it looks awesome, it was fun, but I just like 12 hours punishing, I'm not going to play this anymore. This, I kind of was like, by the end of that 4 hours, I was kind of like, there's that little encampment where the soldiers are, You kind of
Yeah.
start and you kind of just grind that for a while. Well, I grinded for a long while because I'm level nothing. So until I got a decent sword and some armor, I just kind of kept. I'd like kill them, level up, do it over again, for a while. And so, and I did that. And it's like, is this what the game's gonna be? I don't know. So I went to bed. The next day, when I played it. I think it was that was like a Thursday, so like Friday after work. I just played it till like, I don't know, forever. And the loop just caught onto me, and I enjoyed you get your new look, and you finally get a weapon. Like I went from a club to a short sword or something, and I just like, I get this. This is just gonna take me longer than other people, but I get the grind. And then it's like you slowly start venturing out to other places and you get destroyed. And then it's like, oh, okay, I guess I can't do that right now. So I go back to my little safe area, grind some more.
And like your safe area is like not even that safe because, for the first week and a half, you have that tree sentinel just waiting for you. Like he just looks at you and like, one day, bitch, come on out.
And then only that, but that, just early on during the day, that area is fine. But at night, then there's like giants and it just becomes very weird. It like bats and shit. And it's funny. It's interesting. So like, I don't know. I just like, it just came to me. I just got it all of a sudden. And I like it.
Like,
I like
to have a sense of humor.
The games have always been kind of ugly. And I think it finally looks decent enough for me. I don't know.
Yeah. But I appreciate some of that troll ass shit they do. Like, oh, well, there's this bonfire over here in the middle of this like lake thing. Let's go see what's happening. Oh, there's a fucking dragon.
For sure.
Oh, I'm running away. Oh, he lit me on fire.
Dude, they troll hard on that, man. Like like when you get to that final like that Imperial City where the doors are and there's those 2 horse guards. I don't know. Have you been up there yet?
I don't believe I have.
The main city where the main tree is.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, okay. Well, there's this big staircase that walks up, and then there's all these guards, and then it goes nothing for a while, and you're like, oh, okay, no problem. And then there's this, how like there's the horse guy in the beginning area? Well, now there's these 2 motherfuckers. One does ice and one does fire, and you're just fucked, like guard these doors. But if you just run through the door, there's a fucking site of grace on the other side. So you're just like trying to get to it to save, and then it's like, all right, I can figure it out from there. But it's just kind of funny. You're like, just get me through here.
Yeah. Roll.
Horse double jump.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, that's another thing. It's like, I can't hang with the fat roll, man. Like I have to do like the light armor because that fat roll I can't do that shit.
Yeah. I'm always running kind of like medium load. Is that what you are?
Yeah, exactly. Medium load. I've been still rocking basically the same, for the most part, I've been rocking the same armor set I have from day one, which is like the warrior armor set. And I did recently change to like the general's helm that has that big plumage in the back of it.
Gotcha.
It's kind of, because it's ridiculous. That's why.
Well, I got that.
And I saw that you rocked.
I got the. Yeah, I did eventually buy the
right?
warriors, because I didn't start out as a warrior, but I did find it and I bought it because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then I found that wolf mask. So I usually run how I look, and I don't really care about my armor, kind of.
That's what they refer to as fashion souls.
Yeah, I know. But I switched through a lot of weapons and different things. I have a staff for range. Because I don't like using the bow and arrows. I hate that for range. That combat needs to be tightened up. That is boring and sucks to use. I hate that.
Yeah, the bow and arrow is not great. The crossbows are even worse.
Oh, I know. Ugh. So I have a staff for range, and then whatever the other thing is for like the rot stuff, the other like 2-finger or whatever they call those little sigil things.
Yes, yeah.
And then I have a collection of swords. I'll have a katana and a great sword, and then I have the fang, but mine's only up to level 5.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like there's aspects of it, like there's aspects that you don't know. Like the first time you have a great rune.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I can equip this, but I have to go to some place to activate it first. And
And then once
then
you
to look
have
that
it,
up.
you have to use a rune arc to power it, and it's only good until you die.
Exactly. So yeah, I think like that is a concept they brought over from Dark Souls for this. So, but I appreciate, so in Dark Souls, there's a concept of humanity. You look like a normal person, and then you die, and then you look like a mummy, like piece of jerky or some shit like that, and you look super ugly. And so aesthetically, it sucks, and you're also a little less health and until you restore your humanity.
Mm-hmm.
They took that same concept, but instead of like penalizing you, like if you are powered up until you die. And so I do appreciate that change. Instead of taking something away, you're basically you're buffing yourself until you die. So
Well, I have another interesting question that I wanted to get your take on. So for the
Sure.
longest time, obviously the Souls games are punishing, and there's a group of people, whether they have disabilities and can't play games on this hard, or there's people that just want to have, like, why can't it have an easy mode? Now, I feel like to a degree, Elden Ring, instead of putting in an easy mode, added a lot of things for players like me to maybe help them into the game, like the summons, the additional like NPC summons, some of the magic. Do you think that is what that is? Because I feel like there was an article, I think on Polygon or something today, that like there are some hardcore players that feel like all that shit is just awful and like it ruins, like it's ruining their game. What is your take on some of that?
that's actually, I was actually hoping we were going to talk about this. So it's weird. I'm almost of two minds. Like I understand it sucks that you want to experience this one game, but the difficulty curve is such that it is difficult for a lot of people to penetrate just because of the nature of the game. I kind of applauded the idea of like last year I played Psychonauts 2, and they put in options where you couldn't die, and if you really wanted to experience like you couldn't die, and they've had these things to make the game easier. So if anybody wanted to experience the whole story, they could. On the other hand, with this series, it sucks to say this, but not everything is for everybody at the end of the day. And it could be for all different things. For example, my girlfriend has been recently in a symphonic death metal phase. She's been listening to it a lot, but she doesn't like a lot of the screamy vocals that go along with that genre. So there is good music out there, but it's just not for you because of the nature of that element. You know, Game of Thrones is a TV series that many people enjoy. But if you have a hard time with scenarios involving like sexual violence, then this show is not going to be for you. Peanut butter is great, but if you have a peanut allergy, you can't have peanut butter. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but that's just the nature. That's just how it is. Now, for people saying that these summons and magic are ruining the game for them, you do not have to use them. You're not forced to use them at all. So those people can shut the fuck up because you have the option to use it or not.
But do you feel like they were added instead of doing an easy mode?
Quite possibly. Like, I for one, like, yes and no, because in the prior Dark Soul games, there were times where you can summon, computer-controlled phantoms that will help you in boss fights. And for the most part, that's when I do most of my summoning anyway, is during a boss fight. Just basically to run distraction while I can come behind them and just start whacking at them or do whatever. I have only actually summoned, I think, a computer-controlled phantom maybe once or twice, and that was for, was it the Marguerite fight? You have that one person show, like you can summons like
No, it
the
was Godric.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that person you're talking about. And I know that PvP and also you can summon helpful phantoms, but I haven't really touched that aspect of the game. You have a bunch of those tools in your inventory, and I haven't even touched them yet. I don't even know what they do. They have the one that looks like a shovel or a flute or something.
And sometimes I feel like they're worked into the bot. Like Radon, I think it was worked into the fight.
Yeah,
Like it's like
so
the whole
absolutely.
point.
Yeah, and that fight is a bitch if you don't use them. Like, so for example, for me, I died probably at least 10 times before I even made it to like where he was at.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he kept like one-shotting me with his bow and arrow. And then you get to the point where you know when to like bob and weave. Like I like to compare like Dark Souls bosses to playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Because they all like will tell, like they all have tells if you know what to look for.
Right.
And you know when to strike, when to move, and you also have to know when to back off because you're going to open yourself up to get destroyed. So if you approach it like that, like it kind of conditions your mind to know how to fight them instead of like, I'm just going to run up, I'm just going to spam like attack, and eventually he's going to die and I'm going to go on to something else. You can't do that. So yeah, at the end of the day, it sucks that there's going to be people out there that can't enjoy this game.
Well, I appreciated it.
Time,
I appreciated it. I mean, even if it's easier, I appreciate it because it's been the doorway for me to get into it, and then it makes me want to learn it more. On top of just, I'm not. There's no shame in me cheesing the boss, but then I watch some of these guys beat these bosses with like no damage, and they do like it's like some of the most sexiest like sword play I've ever seen in my life. And it's like I kind of so I work on my timing. I work. I try and sometimes it works for one round of it, and then I get fucked the next round. Like he does it and I got it, and then I get fucked. But I appreciate that I'm learning, and I've been let into the club to play the game long enough to not feel like I shouldn't be here. And obviously 12 million people are buying this goddamn game. There was some, what is it, on Steam that like less than 50 people had even beaten Godric at this point or some shit.
Yeah, actually, I remember like seeing like actually the numbers are getting really high. Like something at least 50% of players now have beaten him. Like they'll show you percentages of the achievements of like certain like killing certain bosses and stuff like that. And like it's actually getting impressive. Like I feel like for so long like they weren't giving players credit that they don't need to have all this. Listen, when they stopped giving you a instruction manual is when they really started doing the real hand-holdy tutorial shit that we've all become tired of at one aspect or another. But now, like, they're basically from software is like, we actually trust our players to basically understand and kind of like decipher like this puzzle box that we present to them. But I feel at the same time, they actively encourage cooperation amongst other players, like whether by forums or even by putting like the whole messaging system in the game itself, or like seeing like bloodstains of where people have died in other games that are happening at the same time as you, and seeing like phantoms and like, so sometimes you think you're in a safe spot and you see some white like ghost phantom in the far away fighting something. You're like, what the fuck is over there?
I think it's impressive. Like if you look at like some of these like mainstream open world games where they say that it's your choice, you play this how you want to, but generally everyone plays it the same, and then you have a game that doesn't hold your hand and doesn't tell you what to do, and you see people fighting a boss hundreds of different ways.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, don't tell us there's 100 ways to do it. Just don't tell us how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
They
very
don't tell
interesting.
you. Yeah, or like you can go around like just ganking like NPCs and merchants and stuff like that, and that's a totally valid way to play this game. So like they don't say like you don't have to do this or you can, and they'll do shit where like there are certain players or characters that you come across that have been have been your buddy for a while, and then for reasons they turn on you, and they don't get like you try to find out why afterwards. So it just keeps you on your toes. So yeah, I feel like this series is like this developer. I don't know, like they can continue making these type of games, and if they continued in this direction, like I can't imagine how difficult and how much work they put into this game. It's incredible.
But
Because
pretty
like
quick, because Sekiro was not that long ago, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to think because I remember like when was when was this game announced?
well, it was was Sekiro won what, 2019 Game of the Year?
Ooh, I have my phone here. Let me take a look.
And then it had to have been announced while Sekiro had just been released.
Yeah, you're right. That was 2019. So, yeah. So I guess like 3 years. But I could imagine like you have allocation of like okay, we have our art department is done. So now the art department is now working on Elden Ring, and I can imagine like there's just maneuvering. Like there's always going to be numerous games being worked on at the same time.
Well,
So
Sekiro
I'm
is also
sure, like,
interesting too because you don't get new weapons in that, right? You're
no.
stuck with the
Like,
one. You're stuck with just dealing with.
yeah, you're basically for the most part stuck with a sword that will get more powerful, but the variation comes with with your prosthesis, like these different tools, whether they're firecrackers or a metal umbrella, etc., etc.,
My
etc.
understanding is that is the hardest of the games. Like that game is the fucking hardest.
It is very difficult. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've actually used Cheat Engine before to beat that game because that game is hard as fuck. Um, but it's basically it subverts the mechanics that you were taught in the Souls games, and you are told to abandon them. So in the Souls games prior, like you were rewarded on playing more defensively,
Right, it's the
and not
Bloodborne game because
yeah,
Bloodborne gets rid of the shield and you have a gun and a thing, and it's like it wants you to be aggressive versus.
exactly. Exactly. And so Sekiro rewards you for being aggressive, but it's like you also need to know how to be aggressive, but also have restraint to know when to back off. So um, it takes you a while to understand it. And then the idea of like guard breaks, they introduced a lot of new mechanics, but the mobility was fantastic. The use of the grappling hook was great. But yeah, just like any other games, like you got real fast in that game.
Well,
So
Justin, I mean, we've been talking for like an hour and 12 minutes here. We should probably wrap this up. But just kind of in
sure.
closing, what are kind of your final thoughts? I mean, I think you can probably go beat the game right now if you wanted to, unless you want to make sure you get all the endings, then you have to keep going. But I feel like you can't you just like go after you defeat the first boss, you can just go. I mean, people are speedrunning this game in 37 minutes right now.
Yeah. I think the speedrunning times are going to be kind of jacked up because I think one of the things that got nerfed was the Ash of War that they were exploiting to get those times so low. But I'm already planning on trying to fight every boss. And I have no how that's going to take.
I'm kind of with you.
I,
I
yeah.
wanna experience this. I could go try to beat the game, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really
Hmm.
in that mode right now where I just want to experience it all. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I just want to experience it, and enjoy it.
And it's like this series, or like this game in particular, like the feeling of reward and achievement is unlike most games you play. You actually feel like you're accomplishing something for sure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, I already know from the patch notes, they said they've already added like new NPCs and some new quest lines. And so I can only imagine.
It's funny. It's been so long since like a game multiple times I've just shouted out. You know what I mean? I just like,
yes.
Fuck you.
Yes. Yes. Embrace the hate and make you powerful.
And this is not important to listeners, but Justin and I are friends, and our partners are friends, and Adrian was over here with my wife, and they had drinks, and they came back home really quick to just hang out and see the dog and say hi for a minute. But Adrian was like, "Oh, is Ian playing Elden Ring?" And like Bryn's like, well, not right now. No, I'm hearing the conversation upstairs. I'm hearing it's like, no, he's not right now. He is playing it, but right now he's playing Gran Turismo 7. I just thought it was funny, and then she goes like, yeah, that's all that Justin's playing right now.
Oh yeah, and she'll watch me, and she thinks it's hilarious how quickly I get fucked up.
Well, Justin, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I mean,
anytime to talk about Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I think next episode I'm gonna have Jared on, but maybe we can have another episode where all three of us are on, and we could talk about it again and see where we are.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like Jared just bought it. I like finally got him to just fucking get it, dude.
Yeah, considering that he did the Demon Souls remake, and it sounded like he really enjoyed it. I feel like this would be a really good game to just jump on with.
Well, he bought Horizon and he bought the new Destiny expansion. He's just got too many games, and he's just like, I gotta beat these first. And I was like, no, you don't. You gotta play this one.
Yeah. And like and then you're gonna play this game, and you're gonna be so disappointed with all these other games.
All right, dude. It was a pleasure. Thanks for being on the show.
All right, brother.
I want to thank everyone for listening and remind you to leave feedback on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Couch Co-op Shows, all one word, no hyphen. Reminder, you can subscribe and share and maybe leave us an iTunes account. You can find us on Spotify. In fact, Spotify is doing video shit now, so like when we upload our video, you can actually watch us now, which is weird. But anyway, that would be awesome, and I want to thank everyone for joining me here on the couch, especially Justin. For Couch Co-op, I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to each other.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.